Every hauler in Star Citizen has sat at a station wondering the same thing. Am I actually making the most of this run? What if there was a tool that stacked your contracts, planned your route automatically, and showed you your total profit before you even undocked? Well, there is, and it is called the Hauler app. The tool was built by one developer, and today I sat down with the person behind it. I'm John from the Info Team at Starcom Intergalactic, and welcome to the channel. If you caught my full Hauler app tutorial on this channel, you already know how powerful this tool is for route planning and contract stacking. But today, we are going a step further. I got the chance to speak directly with TheSpaceCoder, the developer who built the tool, and I think the conversation is going to surprise you. We have a full tutorial available, but in summary, the Hauler tool is a route planner built for Star Citizen haulers. You input your contracts, it stacks them into a single optimized run, calculates the most efficient order to hit every stop, and shows you your total profit before you undock. Simple, free, and genuinely one of the best community tools out there. The full tutorial is linked in the description if you want the deep dive. But right now, let us meet the person who built it. TheSpaceCoder is the developer behind haulerapp.space, a tool that the Starcom Corporation now relies on for every hauling run they do. I wanted to find out how it started, what the challenges have been, and what is coming next. Here is that conversation. So how did the idea of the Hauler app come about? And when did the development first start?
First of all, hello and thank you for inviting me for this interview. I'm very excited to get this out to the community, and of course I'm always happy to talk about my tools for Star Citizen and Star Citizen in general. So if I recall correctly, I started working on Hauler sometime in the second half of 2024, and I think the first public release was in September or October that year. At the moment, I'm the sole developer of the tool, but the original idea is actually not mine. Originally, one of my org mates actually approached me with the idea of building a hauling tool for Star Citizen using ant colony optimization. And of course, I thought it was a great idea, and I implemented it pretty quickly. And it was actually quite a simple tool in the first release, and it has evolved quite a lot since then.
What have been some of the challenges in the development of the app so far? And are you anticipating any challenges you think will come in the future from what we know about CIG's future patches?
One of the major challenges was actually getting it to work consistently with a wide variety of inputs from the in-game contracts. But of course I found a way to overcome that, and Hauler now has a very extensive tooling suite, which basically allows me to analyze past inputs from the users, and I can use that data to create better settings for the route finding algorithm. Now, for future challenges, a major one that I anticipate is actually planetary movement. Currently, planetary bodies and moons in Star Citizen only rotate around their axis, which does introduce some amount of error into the calculation, but with the distances in Star Citizen, it's actually negligible. At some point in the future, though, we're supposed to get planetary orbits and all sorts of other planetary movement. So I will need to figure out how to either pull the planet positions from the game in real time, or calculate them with some reasonable accuracy. And since I really don't like math, I think that's going to be a big challenge.
One of the biggest benefits of the app is the route automation. What was key to ensuring that would work?
So, Hauler uses something called ant colony optimization, which is a probabilistic algorithm. And I won't bore you with the specifics, but I've made some videos on it that you can find on my YouTube channel. But it's actually a very useful algorithm for a lot of real-life problems as well. But in short, ACO has a few advantages. One of the main ones being that if you tune it correctly, it can solve complex problems relatively quickly and cheaply, computationally speaking. The other being that it just kind of works, as long as you implement it correctly. The difficult part is actually tuning it, or finding the right settings for the virtual ants that explore the possible routes. In the first few versions I basically guessed the parameters, but now I have a much better approach. I actually collect the inputs that are sent to the hauler. This gives me a pretty good data set on how players use the app and how they interact with the hauling gameplay loop. I then use machine learning to categorize the inputs by some parameters. And then I use genetic algorithms to breed the best setting for each category. And of course there are a few layers of testing whether the results are actually good. but doing this basically ensures that the users get a consistent result for every set of hauling contracts. And with the recent update, most of this is basically automated. All I really need to do is trigger it every few weeks and see if the settings need an update based on the new inputs.
Many tools we come across are built around pulling data from other third-party tools. Is that the case with the Hauler app, or has it all come from in-house?
So right now, Hauler doesn't need any external data. It only really needs the location coordinates, and those I can get myself in the game, and same for the mission cargo. And if I miss something, the users usually let me know, and I can add it very quickly. Though I would like to streamline this process a bit so it's more similar to what I have for the Armory. Now, both the Hauler and the Armory allow logins with Citizen ID, but they don't pull any data from it.
Would you ever see the tool changing its format from being a standalone app to a built-in overlay that runs in the game? Is that even possible?
So it would certainly be possible to turn Hauler into an overlay. There are tools that are an overlay out there. But for the Hauler, that would essentially involve building and maintaining a separate application, which is not really something I have time for right now. And really the same thing would apply to making it a standalone app for iOS or Android, plus the effort and the costs involved in publishing it on the App Store and Google Play as well. However, I've been told that Hauler can be run inside of Game Glass.
Are there tools out there that you would like to collaborate on and/or integrate your tool into?
I mean, of course, I would like to see it integrated into the game or the RSI website, or even just mentioned on the RSI website, much like every other tool developer out there. But also, Hauler is a tool for a singular purpose, so there isn't much room to integrate it into something or something into it, that I can think of at least. But of course, I am open to ideas and collaboration with the other developers for Star Citizen tools. Behind the scenes, I actually help a lot of them get their tools going, and I'm always happy to work on something for the community. So if someone watching or listening is a Star Citizen tool developer and you have some ideas, my inbox is always open. Because I find that a lot of devs who would like to make tools for Star Citizen are encountering the same challenges I did when I started, and the massive amount of effort and time spent on creating and maintaining these tools, especially if you want to make something that's useful and high quality. So really, any help I can provide, I am more than happy to.
What's next, do you think, in the pipeline of updates for the tool? And how does the future look for Hauler?
So recently I completed a big update that changed how I optimize settings and how routes are created. So I'm actually going to focus some more effort on the Armory because I have some outstanding bugs and I have a big update in the works there as well. But one of the next things I would like to improve on Hauler is how it processes screenshots of contracts. This has been a major pain point and I really need to build a better solution. And there's also some internal tooling that I need to work on and a big technical upgrade similar to what I'm currently doing on the Armory. But neither of those will be noticed by the user, ideally. I actually find myself in this weird spot where Hauler does exactly what I want it to do, and it does it pretty well and has many users. And I think it's beautiful in its simplicity. But there is also a great desire to make it better, and I welcome any user input on what to add or change.
Well, thank you for giving up your time to answer our questions. It's been really insightful.
Thank you again for the interview. I'm very happy to do this, and hopefully I'll be back sometime in the future to talk about the Armory.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks again to TheSpaceCoder for giving up his time for this interview. I'm sure everyone watching will have a new appreciation of the time and effort put into these tools. You can find links in the description below to TheSpaceCoder's channel and Hauler tool. Be sure to check out his Discord to keep up with the project. Starcom will return with more interviews soon. I've been John from the Info Team. Please like and subscribe.